You know, you really should quit gambling. I feel so much better now that I did, John says to his friends over drinks one night. His friend looks up from the phone, eyebrow raised, saying, Bro, you've checked your phone 6 times now since we sat down. What is it now, crypto or prediction markets? John sputtered and tried to say it wasn't gambling, but he knew the hook was the same. He got off sports betting and other gambling apps and thought he'd cleaned up his act by moving to investments. If this situation sounds familiar, stay tuned. I'm Phil Shea, an addictions counselor who specializes in gambling and video game addiction. Buddhism has a concept called the near enemy. The far enemy is the obvious and easily avoided obstacle, the clear opposite of the thing you want. The near enemy, however, is far more insidious. It is something that closely resembles the target, but actually keeps you from reaching it. The easiest example is desiring love, but instead getting stuck on infatuation, lust, or codependence, blocking true connection. Now, back to John. He used to spend his waking life gambling, dreaming about winning it big and riding in to save the day. It was his go-to stress relief, his excitement, which started as a once-in-a-while treat, but eventually grew to become a daily, then hourly habit. After his girlfriend threatened to leave and his parents refused to bail him out again, he set up Gamban and self-excluded from his usual haunts. Trying to be responsible, he set up some crypto wallet and started researching how to invest. This is what clean-cut, white-collar people do, after all, and that's what he was aspiring to be. Then the market surged and dropped substantially in one day and gave him a familiar rush. A friend told him about prediction markets, and John was hesitant at first. Isn't that just betting on real-world events? Basically broader sports betting? He resisted. No way, man, his friend reassured. It's options markets, like shorting a stock. If it was gambling, it wouldn't be legal in every state. Believing he'd just give it a try and back off if it was too much like gambling, John dipped his toe by buying shares, also known as event contracts. For people like John who have given up gambling, they've taken all the proper precautions, and yet, sneaking under the radar, they find themselves using what are ostensibly more responsible means of using their money. Out to dinner with his parents, they dropped a tentative question. How's it going with the gambling? Are you okay for money? They asked. Oh, I'm done with all that, he said, his girlfriend silent, focusing on her plate. I've stopped that entirely. Now I'm being responsible, investing everything. That's great, his dad says, patting him on the back with a chuckle. And with that, the tension resolves, and his parents start peppering him with questions about his thoughts on the markets and what strategies he's employing. In the past, the conversation might have devolved into silence and a quick call for the bill after some harsh words were exchanged. But this time, John felt accepted and responsible. Respected, even. Ask John what he's doing and he'll tell you he's investing his money. He'll talk about how the markets are up or how his investments are doing, and you'll know when he's down because he'll have a storm cloud over him, though he'll avoid saying why. And no, John's no dummy. He's done his research and his approach is as sophisticated as a casual trader can be. But that's just the thing. His relationship to trading isn't typical. Most people who trade aren't watching the markets every hour or making multiple trades a day. John is. His girlfriend wasn't familiar with these markets and didn't even need convincing when he first said he's getting into investing. She just thought it sounded like a responsible way of getting his money to work for him. But then the same conversations began to take place. It's like you're not even here with me, and are you all right? You're taking a long time in the bathroom. I'm fine, John would say, feeling his stress and defensiveness rise irresistibly. The situation was tense, and John's presence in the house was more of a brooding darkness, a far cry from the light, jovial guy he was when they first started dating. And again, John wasn't blind to the decline. He could see that they were starting to drift, but he kept telling himself how it was only a matter of time before things would be all right. He'd been down this far before and came back, but he could do it again. He started betting bigger. His accounts continued jigsawing downward. The pressure came to a boiling point. Then he got exactly what he was waiting for. He won big, miraculously so, enough to pay off all of his debts and even have a little to play with afterward. Suddenly, he was back to his usual self. But this time, despite John being excited and happy, his relationship continued to suffer. His girlfriend didn't trust this sudden change for the better. It had happened too many times before, and then it clicked. You're gambling again, she said late one night. I'm not, John said. You can check. Gamban is still installed everywhere, and I'm still on the self-exclusion lists. John thought he had her there. He was in the clear. He kept his word to avoid gambling, the promise he'd made when she threatened to end things. I don't need to check those. I believe you haven't broken your promise, she said, tension clear in her voice. But you're acting the same as before. You're following the letter of your promise, but not the spirit. She paused. Then the bottom fell out for John when she said, I don't think I can do this. Not again. John's life had become a contrast between mundane, plodding stability and the excitement of the markets. His girlfriend felt like an anchor, keeping him from going too far, and he really wanted to make it work. I'll stop, he said, turning to look at her. Right now, just say the word. Her raised eyebrow was all she needed to convey her feelings. All right, I'll stop right now. Then his phone buzzed. It must have been one of his event contracts resolving. He hesitated. He could tell she was watching him closely. He grabbed his phone and saw that he was right. But the contract had cut the wrong way, and now he was in the red again. Not as bad as before, not by any measure, but enough that it would hurt. What should he do? Should he try and negotiate with her, saying he'd quit once he got ahead? Or should he accept the loss and delete all the apps? I'm going to leave John's story there because I think you know how it ends. Maybe not his version, but yours. The thing I want you to sit with is this. John kept his promise. He didn't gamble. And yet he still ended up in the same place, having the same conversations, feeling the same dread when his phone buzzed. The same shame and fear of being exposed. Because it was never about gambling, it's the mentality. The chasing, the checking, the needing the next thing to resolve before you can breathe. That's what followed him. And if you're honest with yourself, you might notice it's following you too. If you're ready to look at that, not just the behavior, but the thing underneath it, click the link below for a free strategy call. As always, I'm Phil Shea, addictions counselor, thanking you for taking a step toward a better life. Have a great day.